Hi guys, I'm back off my, let me just turn my CPAP off. Oh, there, that's better. I'm back on the camera. Oh no, oh no. Yeah, I lost my battery charger, so I wasn't able to charge the batteries. But you know what? We all do our best. Today, I kind of want to talk to you a bit about, there, that's better, my worst part about being a diabetic. Now, it's not really a worst part, and it's being corrected since, but when I was diagnosed, I sort of would always have to eat everything on my plate. Oh, you might go low later in the day. You have to eat everything off your plate. And for someone like me, excuse me, it would send kind of a bad message that you always had to finish your plate. You always had to clean your plate because of the insulin. And then we got into counting carbs. And if it ended up not being the meal that you wanted, now let's say we went out to dinner and I would order something and it turned out to be the worst thing ever. You know, we'd have to make sure we stopped off at a McDonald's or something because I knew my blood sugar was going to fall. So eating all the time does not work. And I mean, we had to have our snack. We had to have, so we had to eat up to 5 times a day. Now, we'd have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then 2 snacks. Some people had 3 snacks. Oh my God! And we'd have to eat because we'd already given our insulin. And our insulin was in the system. So I kind of had always learned to finish your plate. Then the insulin pumps came, and it was sort of thing where the insulin was fast acting and it could get into your skin relatively quickly. And we counted carbs. This is where carb counting started. And giving an insulin for the amount of carbs was the most important thing. You didn't want your carbs to go way out of whack. And a lot of times at the beginning it did. You know, you make mistakes, but never stop trying. I mean, before it was terrible, and we didn't have carbs, so it was kind of like, oh, you have to have so many carbs with fruits, vegetables, and it was called the exchange program. But you really couldn't exchange anything. Your diet, you could have a certain amount of food every day. And it wasn't until I think I told you this story, but a doctor who was taking care of me when I was in actually Burnaby Hospital, and this doctor kind of showed me how we could change in between based on the amount of carbs. Oh my. And this allowed a person to eat more, you know, if you, oh, I don't really like that, or I don't really feel like a glass of milk. Well, you know, it was all based on carbs. Little did I know, a few years down the road, we'd all be counting our carbs. And to this day, I still count carbs. Now, I've talked to you about this before. I order my meals so that I can have a set meal for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And I know the carbs. And I know how much the carbs are in each meal. And I know this because the provider has a carb count. And a lot of restaurants, I know years ago, it used to be on the back of McDonald's placemats. But you can find out from most restaurants how much carbs are in each. Now you don't know how much fiber's in food. And I think it's a real problem, because if you're trying to count carbs and you're brittle like myself, a miscalculation could make you go high. And I've seen that. I've seen for myself with food that I will eat, and then if I forget to give my insulin, it seems to go straight up. So make sure you have your correct insulin count and give it. There was a kind of a rule or whatever that was given to me. It's always easier to combat a low before you have the low. And I don't mean, oh my God, I've got to eat. But eat sensibly, have your meals, you know, take your insulin, but not too much insulin. So this is where carb counting comes in. And then allow your body to do the rest. Because if you give too much insulin and you do a spiral drop, then things don't really work out well, because as we've seen in the few videos I've done where I've done a check-in, oh, I don't feel so well. Oh, the pain, oh. And you know what? it sucks having a low for me, because when I have a low and my body sort of saying, hey, I need sugar here, it doesn't allow me to get stuff quick. I really feel sick. I feel tired. I just kind of tired, but ooh, I need to go to bed earlier tonight. It's kind of like, oh. And of course, there's a danger of going low. And it was always the sort of thing, well, you're going to take a nap? Well, you better have something, because you don't want to sleep going into a low. And trust me, I've gone into lows when I've slept. But, back then it was kind of like, oh, well, did you have your snack? No. Well, surprise, surprise. But now we can have the basal of our insulin pumps, and bolus when we need to is a much better system. If you really don't feel like eating, you don't have to eat. Like, you don't have to, because, oh my God, you're going to go low. You can sort of like, okay, well, I can wait just a little bit before I eat, because you're not going to have the insulin in your body working right away. And if you don't know how to count carbs, go see a dietitian. That's the best advice. A lot of people want to just see how to do it on the internet. And that's great if you're trying to refresh. But if you don't know how to do it, go see your dietitian. And they will walk you through how to count carbs. There's a few, I guess you can get it at specialty medical stores, but there's a plate that, is separated into sort of like how much breads you can have. If you want to do it that way and then count from there, that's a plus too. Don't worry. It does take a few try to get things going. So, just something to think about. My worst thing was, having insulin and always having to eat. Anyway, have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye now.